Good.
I can't believe anybody. I think I said that on Discord, like Dragon, when you were talking about it, because it was like I don't get it. I'm with you. You could be disappointed. I understand. Like and you might not feel like it's worth that it should be more. But Nintendo, to be mad at Nintendo for doing exactly what Nintendo is going to do, they know their IPs. They know what they're worth. They know what people will spend on them.
Right.
I told this to my friend, but I was like, with the games going up to 70 now in next generation, I'm just happy that Nintendo's sticking with the $60 price tag, because it's like, the more I saw games going to 70, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be the next standard price.
The only
60
games
already
going to
enough.
70 are 2K and PS5.
Isn't Xbox One being 72?
Nope.
No.
Not that I'm buying
Probably
any,
only a
because I have
matter
Game
of time.
Pass.
Well, even before that, that's why we had our $60 games with a $30 season pass attached to them.
Right.
I'm sorry, I just don't like when people complain about $60, $70 games, though, when I remember paying $85 for Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo.
Did that actually happen back in the 90s?
It was they were some games, Final Fantasy 3s and stuff were $70, $80.
But what made
Then.
them that much money? It doesn't make sense. And then didn't they just the same as any other Super Nintendo game?
Yeah, but if you're talking 1995, $70 then is probably about 90 now.
I gotta
So,
say, Skinny Matt, your picture always freezes just perfectly. It's done it again.
It's this computer. It's ancient. I can't stream from it anymore, so I have to stream from my console now.
That
I
sucks.
gotta get into streaming.
I need to
like
get a new-
I like your Luigi hat though.
I've had this for about 3 or 4 years.
I saw
nice,
that.
I
I
should
saw
put
that
this
cool
one
stuff. Them.
Nice.
This
You
was a
gotta-
Target
you gotta
purchase.
Wear that.
Now,
You wear
see,
that when you're playing Mario Tennis, right?
Yes.
I don't have Mario 10, but I'll tell you what. I got this from Target, and the other day I was in the one Target and they had a Wario one, so that gave me hope that there might be a Waluigi one at some point.
Nice. That would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Target does have some pretty good licensed, different Nintendo stuff, arcadey stuff. Like,
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
It's fun to go browse through there to see if there's anything new, especially since I don't have a Nintendo store like some people do near them.
I know.
Mecha Dragon.
What are you talking about?
You're in New York, Dragon?
Sorry, repeat that again. Sorry.
You're in New York?
Yeah, I live in New York City.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good place to be honest. I mean,
Kids in your
but
Nintendo.
Tim, it's hard to get in there lately because of the long lines. I guess the quarantine and whatnot.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it makes
I think
sense.
I think it's the best to go there around the early afternoon when everyone's working, so I could just sneak in there. I think maybe. Now you remind me, I should go back and see the Neo when I'm free. That's what I probably should have done today. But no, I had to be a good citizen, donate platelets and stuff, whatever.
Yeah, American Red Cross is hounding me for mine right now. They keep calling me.
Who's what? Sorry.
American Red Cross keeps pounding me for my platelets.
Oh, I thought Dracula was looking for your blood.
Yeah.
That's who owns American
I-
Red Cross, right? It's Dracula, the vampires.
Only the vampires work in the blood bank, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's all Rose.
They really like mine. They keep begging me to come back. I mean, I usually do that, but it's just platelets, man. It takes a lot out of me whenever I go.
Yeah, I could never do the platelets. I'm like, if I'm gonna come in, just take whole blood.
I tried
Yeah.
that, but apparently there's like traces of sickle cell in my blood, so they don't want me to do that anymore. So I'm like, oh, that's a shame.
I think the
They
big
can
push
just, like-
is if they can make you a regular person, they can actually take platelets more frequently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like every
whereas-
2
And
weeks.
most people
essentially.
just need the platelets. They don't need whole blood, but whole blood will do.
Yep, and platelets is the big thing that they need too.
Damn, I'm catching up to you here.
There you go. Yep, I see it. There you go.
3 weeks.
Nice.
All right.
That's
Alright,
the
Matt,
camera.
I got
Oh,
it.
sorry.
Oh. I was gonna say, Matt, I gotta know what's the wallpaper or whatever is behind you.
It is just a piece of fabric hanging. I haven't rigged it up yet, but it's a Mario Brothers 3 fabric.
Nice. That's what I was wondering.
That's
That's
awesome. man.
awesome.
That is awesome.
Where did you
get
find that fabric?
My wife does a lot of sewing, but I think she found it. Joanne Fabrics has a bunch of like Nintendo themed fabrics when you can find it in.
Yes.
They got harder to find because people are using it to make masks.
Oh,
But
God. That's a good,
you can
yeah.
find it in
That's
stock. They got tons of Zelda, the Pokemans.
I
Pokemon.
gotta
Mario.
check that out.
Ryan fabric.
I want to make a bunch. I want to make a bunch of like, just pillows and crap like that to have. Well, I can't make any of that stuff, but
My wife does. Well, we can talk later.
all right.
She does. Oh, she makes stuff. She
hooked up
she
the
made a bunch of
NinDads
masks.
crew, didn't she? I saw that a lot of that going around when you guys were starting to make the masks and stuff. I think a lot of the people in the NinDads community were asking your wife to make lots of masks there, right?
Yeah, she was using the. She used my. She had a bunch of fabric to make me a Zelda shirt, and it was the from Wind Waker. You know, like when you start it up and it shows like the
Yes.
like the old stuff. Like
Oh,
it's that.
yeah.
It's that brown. Yeah, well that fabric they don't make anymore. She was supposed to make me a shirt for a nice shirt for it, but she turned it into masks when all this went down.
Oh.
So it's all right.
Either way,
Even had
yeah, that's awesome.
She even had some, what do they call it? Buttons that were it was on Etsy, so it wasn't Triforce. It was like triple triangle buttons or something
Nice.
to use for buttons, but it is what it is.
That's right. That's funny how people get around that.
Triangle strategy,
Copyright.
game, working title.
Yeah.
We're gonna call that game.
Justin was like, "That's the worst name you could give a game." It's like
I
Triangle
just
Strategy.
don't understand why they just don't call it Final Fantasy Tactics. Because
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Tactics don't have to have Final Fantasy in it.
Oh.
Like, you could just call it Final Fantasy. Call it what it is. It's got the same system. Those were great games. This seems like it's a good game. Just change the stupid name.
I mean, they did it for the Saga franchise, but they just called them Final Fantasy games, even though there apparently weren't Final Fantasy games.
Yeah. Did anybody download the demo?
I
didn't
got
get
it
a chance.
downloaded.
I
I
haven't
already
played it
finished
yet.
the demo.
Oh, how was
finished
I
it?
love it. Oh, I love it. This is probably going to be one of my favorite Switch games, to be honest.
Do you
Wow.
think they'll have, or so
That's
is there
awesome.
8 characters and they'll just call it Octo Tactics?
There are more than 8 characters. So I have actually already restarted the demo, and I can confirm there are 3 optional characters, and you start with 9. So
Wow.
Wow, cool.
So
How
it's,
long's the demo? A few hours?
it's 2 battles. Each
Okay.
one takes around an hour-ish,
Jesus Christ.
Oh, nice.
with lots of cutscenes in between.
That was always the thing with like Final Fantasy Tactics, especially that original one. The story is so good, everything, but man, some of those battles would take forever.
Well, in playing them again, because I tried to replay Tactics A2, like, it's just slow. And I have this problem with Pokemon games, too. Like, it just, like, you're already thinking 10 moves ahead, and it just takes forever to watch it play out.
If you're gonna play,
And
which is-
it's really nice on the modern games, like Fire Emblem does it, too. You can hold down a button to fast forward.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, that's what
after
I
a
was
certain
gonna
point,
say.
you get to a groove where you kind of know when you
So-
can do that and not miss
Well,
anything important.
That's what I like about though games like Fire Emblem and stuff like that now is the fact that I mean you can even skip battle animation if you want. I mean
Well,
you
and
can
there
really
was
speed it up if
there
you
was
want.
always the option to go into the menu and turn the animations off, but at least for me, I actually like fast forwarding better. It just sort of like once you've played the game enough, your mind just fills in the gaps of the frames it skips because you've seen these animations so many times.
where the animation makes a good break to take a drink.
Yeah.
There's that too.
Or make a sandwich or something. I'm not gonna lie, that trailer just reminds me I haven't even beat Octopath Traveler yet. It's one of those games where I'm like, I'm gonna beat it, and then I never did.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I never
just sat
finished
there,
the
it's like-
I never finished the
The demo.
post game on that. The
I
Octopath
actually-
post game was it's
Yeah.
I had
haven't
my
either.
characters built for this, and you go into that post game and it's a boss rush with something else, and that last thing just wipes me because my
Well,
characters aren't built to
and
go through it.
The weird thing too is you can get through the boss rush fine, And by then you've committed like an hour to playing through that, and then you get blindsided by the boss because you have to be very specifically prepared for that
Right. You not know.
end boss.
Spoiler. You can only hurt with like it's the only physical or magical attacks hurt him, and then it switches to the other. So if your team isn't
Well, and up to that point, you've probably neglected 4 party members,
Oh yeah.
and then you realize you need all 8.
Yes.
Because you will switch to the other 4 for the second phase.
Yep.
I tried to get back into that game, and I really liked the style and everything else, and I tried to get back into it, but then I think that's about the time that Dragon Quest XI came out, and
I've been
I'm a
playing that
sucker
8
for
months.
those games. So I played that, and I play slow. Like, I'm way behind everybody else. That's why I never do like the competitions and stuff like that, the monthly mayhem and stuff like that. I'm like, they're like 3 months ahead of where I am in games. I feel like I'm still playing through Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. I'm close. I'm
Yeah,
close. I
man.
just have one more main battle, but I like doing all the side stuff, and
Yeah.
like I have Mario, but we fired it up a few times and I love it, but I really want to finish one thing, and like
You
It's
want to do
almost
the
far
Jesse
behind.
thing. You want to focus
That's right,
on
yeah.
the game that you're playing
So-
right now, and then when you're done with that, then you'll move on.
right. I
Yeah.
figure about 2 more months and I'll be playing Donkey Kong. So
Yeah, Hyrule Warriors, that was like 90 hours to complete. 100% of that one. It was fun to a point.
How in the world? Because I'm struggling. I finally moved back, just skipped it, but because I tried to do as many of the side quests as I can before the next battle, main storyline.
Yeah.
I cannot get past the one where you can't take any. It's the final one, I think, where you're not allowed to take a single hit, and you have to plow
Oh,
through.
that one's
and
tough.
like you're in those stupid, the Yiga clan hideout. I don't think there's any spoilers in saying this. You're in the Yiga clan hideout, and you can't you can't move around. You're narrowed. Oh man, that is
It was
brutal.
tough. That was
I get-
probably one of the toughest ones.
I get about 3 or 4 guys in, and I take a hit. And I tried like
Drop a
20
banana.
times. Yeah.
And then you go take a drink. After that one, you take a drink or make a sandwich for sure. Yeah.
Oh man, that is rough. So I don't know how you did that.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Anyone else drinking some thick mineral water?
Is that what you want to call it?
I just prepared a G Fuel, so whatever.
Yeah.
Then I got
What did
mineral
you give
water.
Water.
Just water.
Water.
I got
Leftover soda.
Tang.
Tang.
Still make
nice.
that?
Yeah, they got
They brought it
in.
back.
They got a new squirt thing that you can add to water. So I'm drinking it.
You're all set for outer space then.
Yes, I am. I'm all set.
The Spider, how you liking Dragon Quest XI? Because I'm in the second act and I've been playing for months because I can only play in like hour and a half spurts.
Yeah, I took a long time, but I 100%ed it. Well,
I'm not
100% in
100%.
the, I didn't collect every single weapon and all of that. What I mean 100% for that game for me is go level everybody up to 99 and then do all the main side quests and the post game. The post game in that game is probably the best post game of any game, but I spent months in the game too because that's all I could do too.
Yeah,
It took me a long time to do it, but
I
that game
just
is
got-
just so good.
I just got to the point where, to keep it semi-spoiler free, since it just came to other consoles recently, I just got the hero's main abilities back.
Okay, all right. Yep.
That's the last thing I did. Where you have go to the town because everyone's having the same dream, and then
Yep.
you learn what happened, and yeah,
Yep. So you're moving along.
but I've missed a lot of stuff because it's like for some stuff I'm like, all right, I'm trying to find some of the side quest stuff, so I look up a quick walkthrough. I'm like, yeah, I don't have that armor, I don't have that, because I'm trying to. Normally I try to spend more time on it, but I still have to play I got picked up Tales of Vesperia
Oh,
and all these like
another
nice
good one.
big long JRPGs, and it's like I don't know I'm gonna play them. I'm streaming Yakuza Zero. Is it Yakuza? I don't know how to pronounce it properly. I can barely speak English.
I think it's
but
Yakuza.
Yakuza Zero.
yeah.
Yakuza 0, And
I usually have a JRPG that I'm playing over just the long haul. Like I have not. I bought like I haven't even gotten through Xenoblade Chronicles, the definitive edition or whatever. Like I still have that. I haven't put any time into that. Yep. I know
it's still
a
in
great
plastic
game.
wrap. I just got it.
Yep. Yep. And I'm. You know what? I'll be buying Bravely Default 2 next week. And that will sit there for a while.
You are brave.
I am. I like
but
the
I'm still
first
sitting.
one, but
I still have I Am Setsuna sitting in my backlog.
Yep. I know.
I couldn't get into that one.
I
haven't tried that one either. I didn't even buy that
I picked it up for like
really
$5 on a sale.
It's funny, you guys talk about not making it through Octopath, and the effect the Bravely Default 2 demo had on me was to make me just want to play Octopath again instead.
See, I really liked. I don't know what it was. I liked the first Bravely Default. I liked the battle system. I don't know. I just thought it was, I didn't even mind. Grinding in that game or anything. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, I don't dislike the game. It's just it's similar enough to Octopath that it makes me want to play that instead, because that's the one I prefer.
I see now. I thought Octopath was a little slower, and that's why I ended up moving on. And I hope to go back to it, but it just seemed slower paced to me.
Okay, can I say something about Bravely Default real quick? I kind of hate how one of the characters has the exact same name as I do. So like, this afternoon when like Nintendo in America was like saying like, and Elvis, it's like, oh, they're talking about me. Oh, right, the guy from Bravely Default, because it's literally called Elvis. And now I'm feel like I should probably play this game, so I could just principle and stuff.
Yep.
All right, can I?
Any game that has your name in it, you got to play it.
That's right.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't know, my real name is Elvis Sanchez and stuff. So I'm apparently in Bravely Default. Yay, that's thief, I guess.
Congratulations.
Can I get your? Can you autograph a copy for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need you to go to the Nintendo store, buy yourself a copy of yourself in a plushie, and send it to all of us.
Yes, there you go.
And sign them all. Yeah.
Or they actually, why am I taking the game? Is like, oh, excuse me, this is my game. I'm in it. So.
All right, so here's the question then, since we're talking about a lot of Square Enix stuff. When are they going to smart up? And they're remaking all these games, Legend of Mana now, and we still do not have a definitive version of one of the all-time greatest JRPGs. And of course, I'm talking about
Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger, and that and Final Fantasy VI too. Now that I think of it,
Yeah.
But I just don't understand. Like, Chrono Trigger is just money on the table. I don't understand. You spent money to redo Legend of Mana, which looks great, looks fine, but nobody was like, "Man, I wish they would re-release Legend of Mana." Like, man, that is a game I've just been playing. But Chrono Trigger,
so here's
nothing.
That's the reason why is they have to practice on something first before they go to that, right? So they need to practice on the Legend of Mana thing first, and then once they got it down, then they're like, okay, now we're gonna go do Chrono.
They already did their practice. What they need to do, they don't need to touch it up much. Just they need to fix some of the Mode 7 stuff out of there. Some of the pixelation of that. Just take that 2D HD from Octopath and Project Triangle, whatever. Throw it in there. You're good to go.
Beautiful. Yep, I know.
Wow.
I just can't.
Now it makes me mad I had
figure
sold my
out
copy
why
of Chrono Trigger.
I just saw that.
I can't figure out. I mean, I have it on the DS. The DS version is.
Oh, I had Super
good.
Nintendo copy.
Yep.
Chrono Trigger.
I've got mine in my SNES downstairs.
My Chrono Trigger paid for this beautiful monitor sitting right in front of me.
Hey, that's how it works.
My Super Nintendo didn't work. I wasn't using it. I put it on eBay.
And the thing is, I'm not surprised that like those games aren't on SNES Online. It's just, I imagine Nintendo asks Square like, hey, can we put this on? And they're like, no, we're going to release it our own way.
We're going to have our bad port
But it's
on
like,
screen
by
soon.
now, Switch is 4 years old. Like,
I mean,
And that service has been around for 2 years. It's like you'd think they would have put out like a Super Nintendo Final Fantasy collection. Chrono Trigger, I guess you could release on its own. You could do like Chrono Cross, but I think most people just want Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Even if they just didn't they have wasn't part of one of the Final Fantasy anthologies too, or one of the ones they did on the PlayStation?
Yeah.
Just put the PlayStation version
I've
over.
done that before.
No. That version is. I mean, I guess you wouldn't have. I mean, the load times are atrocious.
They'd be gone.
That's true. You could get rid of a lot of that, but I think the DS version was better than the PlayStation version.
Is it Chrono Trigger on Steam? Because when I was Steam shopping the other
Yeah.
weekend, I saw Chrono
It's a
Trigger.
bad
because
port.
that's
it
a
really?
bad port because it's the same as the mobile port, and it's
Which is
garbage.
bad.
It's
They did
bad.
that with most of the Final Fantasy games
Yeah,
too.
the Final Fantasy VI on mobile isn't great either. The best version of that is probably the one on the Game Boy Advance.
The
I
SNES
Or
Classic,
the SNES Classic is
Yeah, I thought
perfect because it's the original
except the
ROM,
load,
but it's
like the
but-
save.
except for the but the advanced version had some extra stuff put in, some nice quality of life and some extra like extra bosses and stuff like that. And so I think that's probably the best version, but I just
Like,
don't know. What are they thinking? Legend of Mana? Like, come on.
I looked that up. Apparently, that's a PlayStation 1 game. Is it true that the Mana games got worse and worse after Trials of Mana or something?
Secret of
Yeah,
Mana
it's-
is the best of them. None of them are bad. They're fine games. And this
Now, Legend
I
of
mean,
Mana is the first one, right? That's second Detsetsu one?
No, that's just Mana is
No.
the fourth one, right?
Because Secret of Mana is second is I can never pronounce second Detsetsu 2.
Yeah, I can't remember.
10 years ago, I could have told you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I
I'm
watch
old.
a YouTube video. Yeah, exactly. Now I'm like, what order are these? Just watch a YouTube video. Somebody will.
It's the first one for Game Boy, then it was Secret of Mana, then Trials of Mana, then I don't know after that. Maybe Legend
Yeah,
of Mana.
but they were in like. They're not.
They're never in
they're
order in the
released is
US.
not the order that they're. It's like Zelda. You never know where in the timeline it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, look at that. You can see my little where my fabric ends underneath because this is poorly set up.
Sorry, just trying to fix my camera.
I saw him messing. I'm like, I gotta fix mine now too.
Sorry. It keeps flashing green, so I'm not sure why he's doing that. It's fine. Don't mind me.
So,
That's
you-
right. Since I got moved, I can't get my lighting right. So
what was the JRPG game
Yeah,
that got
lighting
you?
right is
What was the JRPG game that got you guys into JRPG games?
the free.
It's funny you said that, Tim. I was actually thinking about that on my way back home. I was like, what was my first JRPG? I'm like, I think it was the Battle Network game, third one, because I was a kid. I played as a kid, and it's like, yeah. I mean, do you consider that as JRPG, even though it's not really true JRPG?
Which one?
The Mega Man Battle Network game.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I think it probably counts. For me,
Thank you.
For me, it was Dragon Warrior, like original Dragon Warrior.
free
I played-
the free copy from Nintendo Power. Did you get that too?
No, I actually had to buy my copy because
Since you
I did
mentioned
not- I was not able to have a subscription at that point to Nintendo Power, and so I had to save up and buy all my own stuff. And so I bought Dragon Warrior, and I had a little black and white, like, I don't know, 6-7 inch TV in my room that I hooked my Nintendo up to, and I played Dragon Warrior 1
In black and white.
most of
Wait,
the
you had
time.
you had a black. Those actually exist. Black and white TVs.
Oh yeah, hey now. I
We
know
had
what
one when I
that
was little in the back room. The spare one. Yep.
Yep, that
When
was
you-
that
Hey,
was if
now
I
it's on
wanted
too.
if I wanted a
Turn
TV in my room, that's what I had.
If you
And
wanted a
I'm
TV in
most
your
of the time
room,
the
you
Nintendo
probably
was-
weren't getting color.
That's right. I had.
You were getting the hand-me-down yard
and it
yard
was,
sale
it was
special.
from my
Yes.
my great aunt gave it to me actually,
Yeah.
and it was orange, like the outside of the box was. Or
That's
TV was
awesome.
orange. But yep, because because Dragon Warrior was a long-term game, and so when the Nintendo was in the living room, you just didn't have time to play those kind of games. But
Right.
I'd bring it to my room, hook it up, and I would play in
And you
black
can leave it
white, so
running
that's how I
too,
first
like leave that running and turn the tube off, and then turn it back on when you're ready to keep playing.
I mean, Dragon Warrior had a
real
battery
sleep mode right
backup
there.
at
That's
least,
right.
Yeah.
Except you had to warp back to the castle every time to save.
Every time to save, yeah. You couldn't just
until you
save
get
it
that
anywhere.
until you get that warp spell.
Yep, you had to you could only save in the first castle with the king. That's it.
And if you
So,
died, you lost half your gold.
But
So- Since you're talking about
That was
Dragon
so good.
Quest, you mentioned earlier how like the mobile ports are pretty bad. I think the Dragon Quest games on the Switch are the mobile ports of those games. So does that mean those are bad too?
well, they're not bad. I mean, they're certainly playable. They just look kind of ugly because they put these I don't even know how to describe it. It's like they put like animated sprites on the original sprite. Like I can't even explain it.
It looks like a Flash game. I'll admit that.
Yeah, like the characters are look like Flash game put on like the pixel, like the original pixels, and it just is funky. Like I don't get it.
I think Jesse said the best version to play Dragon Quest is a Game Boy Color version or something like that, or the Super Nintendo one. One of those two.
Yeah, the GameCube. There is no Super Nintendo one version.
Good luck finding that one.
Come over. Yeah, it didn't come over to the. It didn't. It stayed just Japan only.
But there should be a translation patch, I'm guessing, right?
Yes. If you go that route, yes, there is a way to play it that way.
I would say
my color versions are pretty good.
I would say my first
they're on
one was
Game Boy
probably
Color.
Final Fantasy VII.
Make me feel old.
I think that was a lot of people's first ones.
I'm
But,
the weirdo whose first one was Earthbound.
but we got to remember
That's a
that
good one.
Tim didn't
Funny
have
enough, I
an NES.
Funny enough,
Yeah, I
played
didn't
it
have an
during the
NES,
quarantine.
so
That was fun. That was a fun game to play. What's that, Earthbound?
Me.
No, I know. I played that during the whole shutdown because I don't remember.
That's a good first one.
I didn't play that one until I was in college.
Final Fantasy VII.
No, Earthbound. Same with Final Fantasy VII. I was 17 by the time Final Fantasy VII came out.
I first saw shame myself.
me
I
too.
haven't beat that game yet. I'm not a real gamer. It's like every time I start the game, I just forget about it. Like,
I still never finished
Are you
Final
playing
Fantasy
the-
VII.
Are you trying to play the original or the remaster?
No, the original. I'm not gonna buy the remaster.
The problem I have
Don't.
when Final Fantasy went 3D is that you can sit there for 4 minutes for every time you cast a spell for that damn that animation to go through.
And I'm sorry, I think the story in 7 is great. It looks ugly as sin, and I couldn't I hated it. I hated it for that reason.
I cannot
Tell
wait to
Nintendo Kefka should have been in over Sephiroth and Smash. Just saying.
I'm with you there.
Kefka's a
Six
better
is still
villain.
Final Fantasy 6 is still the top of that.
I think it's
series.
because more people recognize. What's I think doing that? Sorry, more people recognize Sephiroth than they do Kefka and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Seven
it's-
was more popular, but it's just
Because of the remake. The remake is out, and that's
Yeah.
another game I couldn't. I haven't
But
gotten all the
you
way
have to
through.
realize that
If I were picking one Final Fantasy character to represent the franchise in Super Smash Bros., especially since we already had Cloud, but I would say Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, just
That would be
because
cool.
he's a callback because he's the Black Mage sprite, basically.
Yeah,
He's
that
a
is cool.
redesign of the Black Mage, which is an iconic Final Fantasy look.
I was kind of hoping for Terra from 6. The
Gotcha.
main-
So here's a question for you now in regards to JRPGs. Do you think kids today can get into JRPGs like we did? I'm sure, there's a few I'm sure that do because they're into these type of games, but we kind of I think we're forced to play these kind of games because you got one game and you played it to death, essentially, I think, in that generation. Like if you were on a Super Nintendo, especially, if you got that, or even Nintendo, for many of the kids in that generation who got those systems, it was basically you got a game, unless you got to rent them. Obviously you could rent some games when that started happening, but mainly it was you got one game and you played it for like 6 months, and if you were, and then you got another game if you were lucky. So nowadays kids can access games from everywhere, their mobile devices, and it seems like they can get access to more games quicker. So do you think kids have the patience for JRPGs?
Well, I mean, look at Pokemon. That is essentially a
Pokemon.
JRPG, and it's still huge with kids.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
I think it depends how it's packaged, right?
True.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead.
sorry. No, go ahead, sorry. I was just no, go ahead. I'm gonna get my thoughts ready.
From my experience, like my son will watch me play. Like he watched me play a lot of Dragon Quest, 11. He then went back and was playing some of my Dragon Quest games on the DS and 3DS. And he gets about, 3 hours into them, and then he kind of loses it for a while and then just kind of moves on to something else. So he likes it in short bursts, but nothing. But I think you're right. I think it has more to do with the fact that he's got, 40 other games, and that's just on Switch. It's
maybe if like sorry, quick.
No, it's great.
Maybe if the game has like cute characters or something like that, like pretty sure Bug Fables is interesting to kids, and that's most not a JRPG, but it is an RPG, to be honest. Maybe they get older, then they can experience like true JRPGs, if that makes sense. But it's good to start out small, like with Pokemon, and if we ever get another Mario Luigi game, which I hope we do, but who knows?
That's true. He did beat the newest Paper Mario, and that's probably the longest game that he has ever put the time in to beat. That would be considered a semi-RPG, at least. I know it's not traditional.
Well, and I look back at what I would consider most of my favorite RPGs, and most of them are on the medium length side. Maybe not short, but ones that are 20 to 40 hours to beat. Like I just replayed Knights of the Old Republic, and that's a game that takes about 25 hours to play through. Not 100%, but doing pretty much everything you would want to do. And I'm like, wow, this is really nice. Like, I did not get tired of this before it was over, which is often the case with those 80-hour games. And it's only the truly, truly great ones that I don't mind being that long.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Quest 11.
Like Dragon Quest 11.
Well, for me,
since
it's
we're talking about
Final Fantasy
RPGs,
6 and Octopath Traveler.
Since
I
we're
have
talking
not
about
played
RPGs,
Dragon
it's like
Quest. I might eventually. It's on Game Pass. I want to play it before it goes off.
oh yeah, I should do that too.
The
Also,
demo's still on Switch?
Yeah, it should still be on Switch, I think, right?
Yeah, but I've already paid for Game Pass at least until March.
Somebody's asking
Okay.
in the chat, what do you guys think of Mystic Quest, a Super Nintendo game?
I
Hey, I
played
got
that
that
as a
game.
teenager.
I was
That
gonna
is
mention.
a great junior RPG.
I was gonna mention that game. I'm like, if you want them to get to RPGs, give them that game. Like, I was about to say, it's kind of related to what you're saying, but I was gonna ask this: what's a good RPG to get someone interested in RPGs? And I guess that's one of them at least, because it's beginners first RPGs.
Yeah, it's not 25-year-old's first RPG.
It's. I think a
10-year-old.
lot. I think Torture
Oh, yeah,
himself
there you
said
go.
it was Square made the game just to, to get people into RPGs and stuff like that. They knew it was like new and stuff.
I mean, it's not bad. It gets a bad rap, but it's not a bad game. It's certainly playable. I'd rather play Final Fantasy VI again. But
So
That's
Spider
a little-
Shan,
that's a
you
little-
just impressed somebody who's watching in our Twitch. Says nice, a cartridge on hand with a protector over the port end. Very nice. That was
as many as I
Cypher's
can. I
Corner.
think most of my Super Nintendo ones still have that.
Yep. So the reason why I was asking that question too about kids is obviously leading to the main dish of tonight's dinner table, because this portion, as you guys know, is part of the appetizers. You come in, enjoy your appetizers, get your fill a little bit before we get into the main dish. Tonight's main dish is for the dinner table is about kids and gaming. And I wanted to get everybody's feedback on, you don't necessarily have to be a parent to be involved with kids and gaming, especially if you're an uncle in this room, or if we ever have any ladies to join us, if you're an aunt, or even if you're if you've babysitted before and you used games to help entertain the kids, So the question is basically, can games be a mechanism to teach kids certain aspects of life? Can games be used to help deal with anger management in some cases, depending on the game you're playing?
Or create anger.
Or, you learn anger pretty quickly depending on the game you're playing, right? And then they get taught anger management. And now, in this day and age, online gaming. When do you let your kids go online to play games? And if they do go online to play games, how do you teach them etiquette? Those type of things. What have you guys run into? Maybe not as complicated as online gaming, but just in your own house, or what you've done with your nieces and nephews or whatever.
That gives me an idea for a game, Tim. How about like an online education game? Like, how like there's a lot of education games out there. What if they made one like online? So like you could like connect with your friend, and you could like learn together. It's like remote learning, but with the game. I don't know. That just keeps in mind we still online gaming.
Yeah.
My kids actually do that, Micah Dragon. They have, I can't remember what they call it, but it looks like an RPG, because they'll play it, and they play it with other kids from their class, and it's one of the options they were given or whatever, and I can't remember the name of it, but you go around and you complete quests, and I think it's like math based, I think. But like you have to cast spells and stuff like that to be like it looks like they pulled sprites out of Super Nintendo games, to be honest with you. So but you fight monsters and stuff like that, and you have to complete your attack, you have to answer math questions and stuff like that, and they like it. So it is out there. There it is out there, and they can interact with their friends while doing it.
Is that like because of remote learning or something?
No, they.
Oh.
I think they might have started it last year when they were remote, but they haven't been remote really this year, for the most part. And it was just one of the options they were given. So yeah.
So what's the? Go ahead, man. Sorry.
No, I was just thinking. I kind of feel jealous of these kids, because nowadays they have like fun ways to learn stuff like that. And I didn't have any of this kind of stuff when I was learning as a kid. Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the company Leapfrog. You heard of Leapfrog before? They had this thing that looked like a Game Boy Advance, and you can use it to look like, your arithmetic and letters like that. And that came out when I was like 16 or basically like a teenager now. I'm like, man, that would have been so cool if I had that. I think, I don't know, because it would make learning actually fun and stuff. I think with advancement technologies, it makes it. I think learning is a little bit more fun, to be honest, nowadays. It's not just dumb Super Nintendo games that make you act like you're an idiot or something. Sorry.
Hey, I used Super Nintendo to entertain the kids I babysat when I was younger.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You didn't know any better at that point.
Right.
But I was going to say, what's a better game to teach a kid about anger management than Bowser's Fury, right? So yeah, my son's 4, and he's a little bit into gaming or whatever, and he's just starting to learn how to read, and the text is real simple. So I read along with him, and then he's asking, why is Bowser so mad, right? Why is he mad? So I'm just making up stuff, but it's placing whatever thing I think makes sense for him. Talk about why could he be mad, and what are we doing to make him feel better, and that kind of stuff. So obviously at 4, the concepts are pretty simple and everything, but I'm finding it pretty helpful.
Is that a spoiler? Is that why he's in Fury mode? Because he's like pissed off or something?
What, Bowser?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't found out yet. I haven't gotten that far in that game.
I have 100% of the game, and I haven't found out.
Yeah.
I haven't got the game yet.
Yeah.
But I think the Dads of the Dark begins in March 9th, he says. I gotta make sure I get the game before then. That's when their Monthly Mayhem wins? March 9th, right?
It goes until, I think, the 12th, actually.
I guess I got to then to get the game.
You got a little time there.
I was actually hoping by some luck I'll win the contest you guys are throwing. That's why I kind of canceled my digital download. Like, yeah, maybe if I get lucky, I'll have to buy the game. But I don't know if you guys announced the winner for that yet.
Certainly, my luck with comes to winning video game stuff. You might want me to enter, and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, there you go. It goes until March 14th, actually. So Monthly Mayhem right now until March 14th.
So Johnny mentioned learning to read, and I think, especially since we were talking so much about RPGs earlier, that's a pretty simple thing, but I mean, those games have a lot of text. And I know for like my nephew, right when he was getting into Pokemon, when Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out, it was kind of like getting him to pull teeth to read, but he was all about, you know, Pokemon, and you know he would you know bring it up. He would ask, like, what am I supposed to do here? And I'm like, well, have you been paying attention to all the words on the screen? Because they usually tell you what to do.
Yes.
And we were just like, no, we're not going to tell you what to do. Like, I know what to do. I've played the original game.
Is that one of those
I
RPGs?
can probably figure it out for you.
Is that one of those RPGs where like you have to like talk to the villagers and know what the hell you're doing? Like they'll be like, all right, go talk to people. You'll find what to do. Is that one of those RPGs, right?
Yeah, you got to talk to everybody.
Yeah, because there are those RPGs where like the game is like you have to like cryptically uncover what they're saying. I think early Final Fantasy games are like that.
You can't advance till you talk to a specific person to open up the next task.
And I mean, with him especially, it was, you know, he never had trouble reading per se. He just didn't want to. You know, it was like, oh, well, if I don't have to, I'm not going to.
If somebody else will tell me.
I think a lot of kids go through that. They're really like, when they're young, they're like, I don't need to read. Why even bother reading?
Then you get the ones who read everything. I mean, actually, to an extent, that was me. It's like, you know, we just bought you a new book. How did you already finish it?
Yeah.
Actually, kind of tough. I actually got a little bit into reading because I got a new tablet, but whatever. It's cool.
I'm not an avid reader. I was forced to read when I was a kid, so ever since then it was like, it's got to be it's got to grab me right away if I'm going to read that book. So like the Ready Player One book, I actually was like, okay, I'm going to read this one, and I got through it. So, but that was like the last one I read, and I just picked up like the Star Wars, the new Star Wars series of books, like the first book out of that.
Light of the Jedi.
What's that?
Light of the Jedi.
Is that what the title is? It's that new
That's the title of the name, High Republic.
High Republic, yeah. So, yeah, I picked up that book, but I haven't even touched it yet. And then for Christmas, I got the Empire Strikes Back What If stories or whatever.
Certain point of view.
Certain point of view, yeah. So, yep.
So, wait, Tim, when you talk about games that help kids learn, are we talking about like recent games or like old games or like
anything? I mean, it could be.
Because this is the case of my mind just now. The DS had plenty of like learning games. Like we should really mention Brain Age. That was a big learning game for everybody too. Remember the Brain Age?
For all ages, yes.
Yeah,
but the stigma for kids on learning games is that I do that at school. I want to have fun. I want to play games that are fun. And I don't mean necessarily learning games either. I mean just using regular everyday games to use it as a teaching element if necessary, if the opportunity presents itself. Because you're not going to just walk into a room and be like, oh, hey, you're playing Final Fight. Let me teach you something with that game, you know? Or
See, in my house, it's really weird how we do this because, you know, we got the about to be 3-year-old that you give a disconnected controller to, hey, play with us. I got a 5-year-old who, she's in the situation she can read more than she lets on. I don't think she has the confidence. You know, there's things I'm like, how do you know this? But then you say you can't read, but you're sitting here, I can tell you're reading. And then my oldest situation, he's got the high functioning autism on the spectrum. He's 13. Developmentally, he's more like a 9-year-old. He can read and blah blah blah, but like and all that stuff. But I got a problem where, like, based on the Tim seal of approval from the Nintendo Dads review here, and when it was on sale, I bought my daughter the Paw Patrol and a Roll game when it was on sale for like $10 on digitally.
Oh, that was Nick. Nick gave that.
Was that Nick? I'm sorry, I couldn't.
It was either Nick or Gary, one of those two guys.
I apologize. See, all you dads look the same. Which And
I,
with
I
her,
did not give Paw Patrol a seal of approval. Not the last one that I reviewed.
Then it must have been the other one Gary
on a
did.
Paw Patrol in a roll, but it was one of the situations where she would play like Mario and stuff. She just couldn't. Doesn't have the learning curve. Doesn't have the motor skills to be able to put a kid to run and jump. Just kind of working on that. Now she really loves to play Stardew Valley.
Okay.
And the best thing in the world that could have came out is 1.5. I'll tell you that right now. Couch co-op multiplayer Stardew Valley is amazing. By the way, I cannot touch Animal Crossing anymore because of Stardew Valley. If my wife wasn't playing it, I would actually sell Animal Crossing. I'm done as much as I love the original ones. This one I'm very not happy with, but that's a side point. But two-player Stardew Valley is amazing because of the fact that you guys all played this before? Stardew Valley?
My wife plays it all. I see when she's
I
playing.
just started playing it again.
I never played it.
Well, because the whole thing, it's a farming simulator to a point, but you don't have to farm if you don't want to. You can just go and work with the townspeople and get a relationship and get married. You can go, maybe because I have a geology degree, I like going in and doing the mining, where you go in the caves, you fight monsters and stuff. But once we got some of the farm cleared, I started planting some. We got some of the plants, some of the crops planted. I got to the point where I had her tending the crops when we'd get up in the morning. She could be doing that, and I'd be out in the mines now at the same time. It's none of this, everybody has to be on the same screen crap that Animal Crossing does. As you can tell, I'm highly disappointed with Animal Crossing.
He seems so mad about it.
Yeah, I think that's another. I want to debate. I want to debate between you and Nick on that one.
But what's nice is I'm playing with her, and she'll try to have me to read. Now, I'm kind of forcing her to read a little more, and she's picking up more than what she lets on. She just needs the confidence. So I'm just using something that she enjoys to teach her how to read. She gets stuck on something. I say, well, I won't do it for her. I'll just kind of nudge her in a certain way. With my oldest, Preston, and like I said, anyone doesn't know, he's Peace Out Preston because he's famous. He's more famous than I am. But like, he'll be playing Smash now. He finished the what do you call it? The one player not the campaign. What's the spirit mode in Smash finally?
Okay.
He didn't 100% it, but he beat it. But like I'm in a situation where he'll sit there and he'll need help with something. I used to just pick here, and I got to the point I quit doing it for him. I'm like, just do it. You got to do it. And I can't do it. I'm like, I'll sit there and I hate to be like the old man. Like, well, my dad never played this stuff. I just had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Or if it's something I don't know, maybe I'd kind of look something up and say, hey, try this. But,
it sounds like you guys are more leaning to like having the kid do this themselves instead of getting help or something.
Well, the thing is, he's too easy to say I give up. So you just kind of have to support him, but like get him enough to show that he can actually do it. They both lack confidence. It's just the way they're wired. But at the same time, I'm running the situation that he's friends. He wants to play Fortnite a lot. I have nothing against Fortnite. I play Fortnite, but he's 13 on paper. Developmentally, he's not there. The game is rated teen, first off, and two, we know how people are on the internet.
Yep.
I may or may not have allegedly had a situation where I was playing Fortnite with kids who just kept yelling and taking up the communication line and, let's just say, being annoying.
It's Xbox
And I may or may not have been that person that sits there and just starts dropping F-bombs because I just want them to leave. So, but there are people that are jerks like me that may do that. I don't do that all the time. Trust me. I'm not that bad of a person most of the time. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to walk the line of getting him to play stuff that he likes, that he enjoys. He's not really... He wants to play Animal... He says he wants to play something, and he plays, like... Then he'll play Smash, and he'll be mad that he missed a holiday on Animal Crossing, because, they all have their screen limits. And it's like, well, you sat and played Smash for whatever time. You could have jumped on Animal Crossing for 20 minutes and done what you wanted to do, and now you're complaining. So now, we're actually working in to help him with time management, to try to teach him those skills.
Oh, yes.
Because
that's a big one.
I'm not saying we're getting through to him, but he'll sit there and I'll notice he'll say something one day and the next day I'm like, you wanted to see KK Slider tonight, or something like that. And he'll get mad that he missed it.
Even I have trouble with time management where I'm like, oh, I'll just play games and watch TV. Then before I know it's like midnight, I'm like, damn it. I was supposed to do these things and be productive.
But the thing is, we're trying to get him to prioritize not only needs. I mean, obviously, make sure you eat breakfast, shower. I mean, he's 13. I have to remind him to put deodorant on and take medicine every day.
Yeah. Same here.
It is what it is. But
same with Sammy.
Just trying to get him to sit there and realize if he wants to do the A, B, and C, he has to make sure he allots enough time to do A, B, or C, or he's going to lose out on whatever else he wants to do.
Right.
Sorry to tell him that, but I suggest maybe he could get a planner or something like that. Like either use Google Calendar.
We've been doing visuals, but it's to the point where the stuff he has to do to get done, like pick up his room, he gets done. But he's having problems grasping, like, all right, I want to do this and this, but I spent all this time doing this now because I really wanted to do this more. But then he gets all upset and has a meltdown because he didn't get to do whatever else he wanted to do. So we've been totally I'll be honest, we're cheating. We're using with this Calm Hab Worker, but we've been certain point of using more visual timers on this, which used to upset him. But at the same time, working with the coping mechanisms where if he doesn't get to do everything that he wants to do for some stuff, it's okay because he could do it tomorrow.
Yeah, that reminds me. It sounds like this where like you know how like you guys have Ring Fit Adventure? There's an option where like the game will remind you to play it. No, I don't know if you guys remember. There's a thing in that game where like it will remind you to play the game. I'm surprised they told us to put that in other games. So like for example, it will say like, oh, it's 10 a.m. Remember to go play Animal Crossing or something like that.
Does it insult you like the Wii balance board did in Wii Fit?
No, it's literally just like because I haven't set it up. I haven't really touched the game in a long time. So every time I boot up my Switch again, it's like, it's 10 o'clock. Are you going to go play Ring Fit now? It's like, no.
Get your fat butt over here and work out.
Get off the couch and work out. No, but I don't know. So like I said, we're trying to use it. We're using it as a tool. We're not playing games, but trying to, hit the mic, sorry. But because doing the hand talking. But just trying to get him to realize how to schedule time or whatever. It's a learning process for him. Will he ever get it? I don't know, because let's be honest, my time management sucks. But I can deal with the fact that if I wanted to do something else and I didn't set time for it, well, oh well. It doesn't work like that for him. But like I said, then that, and then I still have to navigate the stuff that he's got friends at school that really want to play Fortnite, and I don't think he's developmentally there to handle stuff with Fortnite. And I'm gonna throw my judgmental eyes right now, because like I said, when I played around earlier today, there was someone who was maybe 5 or 6. Fine, you're a parent, be an educated parent, but at the same time, I sit there and say the game's rated teen. But at the same time, I'll give a bonus because I could hear their parent was right there with them. So it's not like back in the times when,
we all get to play Hunger Strap for a day when those rated M.
Yeah, I know I've seen 10-year-olds would play like Silent Hill back in the day, and I'm just kind of like.
Well, now it's even now with the GTA 5, right, or the online GTA. You'll see some kids that probably shouldn't be on there by themselves. I'm not talking about with parents hanging out and saying, "Hey, go do this" because they want to play. It's just they're there playing the game by themselves because they.
The worst.
They got the
I
hookup.
actually can remember being part of a school mentoring program where I was the mentor. So it was like, high school students mentoring like elementary school students as sort of a thing. I don't think it really lasted very long. I just remember talking to this kid like, "Oh, you like video games? I like video games too. What kind of video games do you like to play?" And he's like, "Oh, Grand Theft Auto." And I'm like, "Oh, my parents won't let me play that game."
Yeah, you're in high school.
It gets even worse when those same parents will start complaining, saying like, "Oh my god, how did you make my kid play this game with like all this blood and gore?" I'm like, it's.
You sold me a game for my kid.
I got friends who worked at GameStop or whatever, and they sit there and say, "They're coming out. Let's get Call of Duty. I want this game." And then like they're with the parent. It's like, this game's rated mature, or insert whatever game, or Grand Theft Auto. It has nudity, it has drug use, it has profanity, it's got adult language. Yeah. And then they come back and yell at them for selling them that game, and it's like.
Well, as an example of how sheltered I am, I think I shared this over on the Retro Logic Discord earlier this week, but the first game I remember buying with my own money was Yoshi's Story for the N64. And I remember my dad asking me to make sure that the age rating was appropriate for me. And I'm like, it's Yoshi's Story.
Is that game like rated E or something?
I mean, it's a very kiddie.
It's Nintendo. It's Yoshi.
Aesthetic. And yes,
Yeah,
it's rated
Yoshi.
E.
Saying that, but Smash Bros. Melee is rated teen. So,
But this was the point, and I know a lot of people don't really, for a lot of people it's just as long as it's not M, it's fair game. But I was kept from T for teen rated games until I was probably about 11. I was allowed to play Smash Bros. Melee, which is rated T for teen, and I remember that because I had to appeal that. Play it.
There's an echo there on your side. There's some God damn, it's on my side too. Sorry.
There were no ratings when I was growing up. So, but the games themselves coming out really weren't weren't that bad. I mean, the first game I ever really remember hearing about that was deemed violent, and that I really remember hearing about was, of course, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And that whole thing. And I remember, the hearings, the congressional hearings, and all of that.
Yeah.
So
same here.
But my kids, there's certain games that my wife and I have just decided that, as long as you're kids, you're not going to be playing. And so we don't have Call of Duty. I'm not a big, I can't first person shooters. I just can't do them. They make me sick. I get motion sickness for them or something.
Yeah.
But we just said, nope, it's not going to happen. We said no Fortnite until, because they're not teenagers. My son's 12. And so, all my friends are, we really have used games when it comes to like what we've kind of, helped them learn through games. It's just perseverance, when it comes to those things. Like I'm just like Matt was saying, like, I used to like do everything, like as soon as they get to a little challenging part, Mario or whatever, can you do this level for me? And it's like, well, at first it was like, yeah, sure, because I just want to play. But at the same time, it's like, well, you're not going to get any better. You're not going to do that. So, we used like the first Mario Maker. My son came out when my son was just really starting to really wanting to actually play video games, not just pretend he was playing video games like his dad. But and so I made him a course that was easy, really easy, just to kind of get the hang of the game, and then added more things to that level, making it harder and harder, and kind of teaching them that way, and just that perseverance of, you're going to have to do this yourself if you want to do it. If they and sometimes still he'll get really mad, this isn't possible, why did they make it this way, and it's like, well, if it were easy, like if it didn't take any effort, would you want to play it? Like would you just rather turn it on and watch it play itself? Because then just go watch YouTube if somebody plays it. Because
do all those Mario Maker auto scroll levels.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, he's had to really learn that perseverance and everything. And now we're kind of in that stage where he's wanting to play, online games and stuff like that. And, we just had to really we decided, like, he's allowed to do Among Us, but only with friends. Like no public games, just private with friends right now. And I just this today upgraded our Switch Online to do family, so that he could have his own account and play Minecraft, because he's really gotten into Minecraft. We got him that on Switch at Christmas, and so he's got a few friends that play that, and so he'll sit and do that for a long time, if we let him.
Right.
So it's just that, really kind of navigating that. I think, wow, my parents didn't have to worry about that. They were just like, yeah, sure, whatever, just do your thing, as long, because I just bought my own games, and
Yep. Yes.
Well, on a side note, are you? First off, the parental controls on the Switch are very easy to circumnavigate. We have a friend whose kid really found out how to get bypass it very easily. You go onto like a website, say I forgot my password, and it automatically reset it.
Oh shit.
But on the side, on a side
Really?
note, if like for my kid, for Preston, for on the Xbox, their parental controls, it stinks you have to do them through the website. There's a way to do them through an Xbox app because ever since they split everything up, it sucks. But wow, their parental controls are fantastic for the Xbox.
Wait, for Apex, okay.
Yep.
For
Because
PC, for the system itself.
I have it
Yeah.
set up for all 3 systems, so
And-
for Xbox,
yeah, but
Switch, and PlayStation.
I get a monthly report or a weekly report of how much he's played, what he's played. I can control what games he can play online, what games he can create, if he can create, add friends. Well, I think you can do that on the Nintendo app too. But I like the fact that I can make it's so much easier to lock. The Xbox One can't be circumnavigated unless they figure out the password. The only downside on theirs is they have to have their own email address. So you need to create a dummy email account for them.
Yeah.
I say dummy, but something that you can access so you can set it up. Unlike the Nintendo one, I don't think I needed. I just used my own email address for that.
Hey, Matt.
But
I mean, the good thing is though with the
Sorry to interrupt
with,
real quick, Matt.
Oh.
Sean says hi, and he says he hopes that I'm bestowing my beard wisdom upon you.
in about 5 years, it'll look like that.
I just
Sean.
realized, yeah, you have like that ZZ Top beer. So you're trying to make it grow or something?
He's got that gray in there. He's a little young for that.
That's
Isn't
what
he
you
like-
think. I'm just
is
a
he
couple
like
years
50
behind
now?
Jesse.
Wait, Tim, you're aren't you like 50 now, Tim, or something?
I'm almost there. I got 4 more years to go for that.
I think I'm like the youngest
you're
here right now.
you're
in the
older
video
than me.
chat.
Ooh.
I believe we established I'm a few months younger than you.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
You were born same year, 92.
Yeah, January. My bad. I have
August
memory.
for me.
I just shocked
Yay.
Sean. Sean's like, "You're 46."
I'm 41.
Yeah. So I
I'm
mean,
41 too.
it's crazy,
Just
right?
call this the Geezer pod. The Geezer
That's
Dads. The Nintendo
We're all getting a
Geezers.
little
I don't
gray.
know.
We're all getting a little gray there.
Sean says
I
you're
got salt and
14,
pepper.
Matt.
Oh, when I shave, I look like I'm about 18. It's okay. I got carded for a rated
Yeah, I
R
feel you,
movie
man.
like within the last 5 years, so it's all good.
Yes.
Oh man, but I was just the Switch though, the parental controls. It's good to know, but I mean we only have the one Switch right now, so hopefully I can. He doesn't seem the kind of kid who would necessarily do that kind of stuff, but then again, we were all kids. We all know.
Yes.
I have
And
a
if
family-
my kid does
True.
that, I'm gonna pat him on his head and say, "Good job. Now go see if you can hack something else."
Well, I had a family friend who's they got a Switch. They had the parental controls, and within 3 weeks, they disabled all purchases, and he bought 4 games without their knowledge.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. So apparently, that means they locked their credit card information on the account. I'm assuming.
Yeah, mine is not
See,
on the
I
account.
don't do that. No.
Yeah.
I was
You're
gonna
making
say,
me
I was gonna
get
say, I
a
do
question.
eShop
I gotta
cards
enter it
now.
in every time.
Every time. It's a
Yep.
pain, but I do it
It's a
every
pain.
time.
Except my
I was just
eShop
gonna say
credits,
that.
I just use the pre-order Mario Golf.
And
Yeah, so making me.
I tell my kids too, if they want any money on the eShop or PlayStation, they have to go buy a card with their allowance, and so I don't have to use the credit card. It's like, get a PSN card or get an eShop card, and that's how you get your money on those shops.
Yep.
I mean,
You buy,
Right now,
you buy
I'm
them at
just-
Costco at discount.
Yes.
I'm
Let me
just
see that
remembering
delay.
one of the Smash presentations where Sakurai said, I made it clear to my kids that these are my game systems, and I'm just letting them borrow them.
First, I think
just
that
found
was
that funny.
I think, wasn't that Miyamoto who said that? By the way, or
Was it
something?
Miyamoto?
I think
It might have been Miyamoto, yeah.
By the way, funny thing about that, I was thinking about that recently. Like, yeah, that sounds like a fun thing to say to your kids until eventually they can buy their own games. So let's say they're like 16 and they want to play games and they're like up to 2 a.m. It's like, go to bed, I gotta go to sleep. It's like, no, this is my game. I can play it as long as I want to. So
Well,
like,
that's
it's
when
not.
That's when you steal their electrical cord.
Oh.
That's
what
when
my
you say,
parents-
well, this is my house.
I mean, I'm sorry. I run into that situation when my oldest tends to be can get a little upset and be a little mean to his siblings, because they'll sit there and say, "Well, this is mine. Well, that's my Switch. That's my Xbox. They can't play with your stuff. You can't play with mine."
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Just like, well, this is my electricity, so I
I
didn't think
just
about
say
that.
if you can't share this because you say it's mine. I want to play. You can't play my Switch. You can't play my Xbox. I mean, yes, technically Smash is his. It was a Christmas present for him, but you can play it. But you're not playing it on my Switch. You better start saving some money up.
Right. You got to play it somewhere.
Does anybody else have a problem though with their kids kind of losing their temper though? Like anytime they're not winning a game, like I that's what I have a horrible problem with. He's playing like MLB or if he's playing like Madden or any game where all of a sudden he goes from like thinking he should just be a walk in the park and he starts losing and just gets so mad and just
that's kind of insane that you guys have kids like that, because I never rage out in games. Like I think the only time I ever rage out in a game was Kingdom Hearts, because Sephiroth was like Sephiroth was like super hard of a boss. I think what helps me is that like
Spoiler alert.
Well, sorry, that was like the one random time. No,
20-year-old game.
Well, it was like 3/4 of the way there you can fight him. But basically, I think what stopped me from raging now is like knowing the fact that these controllers are expensive, and I don't want to buy another controller or another console. So like I'm like like that.
But that's we know that because we buy the stuff. But but you know, I just wondered how everybody else is kind of approached that. Like I try to use it as a learning opportunity of like, all right, the game is not. They didn't program it to be unfair to you. Like,
but depends on the
specifically.
Game. Depends on the
well,
game.
I mean, they might for the player, but I mean him specifically. They were not targeting.
Right.
You know, like I try to use it as a learning opportunity, but it's just like sometimes he just really, and he doesn't typically have that problem in life that we see. He's a pretty easygoing kid, but for whatever reason, when it comes to games, he just gets so frustrated, and I just see that, you know, that temper flare or whatever. And so I'm just wondering if anybody else has kind of experienced that and how they kind of worked on that.
I think I'm lucky because my father tends to be the kind of person who would just say anything if even might show a hint of excitement or something like that. So if he might go like, yes, my dad's like, why are you crying? Why you it's just a game. I'm like, no, I'm just excited to win and stuff.
We're crying.
Yeah, I think much like Elvis, I had a bit of that reined me in early because my dad would make very snide comments about my reactions to games. So I learned to just, okay, I don't want to hear your commentary. I'll keep everything to myself.
Nowadays, my father should say, because there's still adults who scream at people. We're just like, when you get older, you get more calm in games. Like if you beat a game, it's difficult. It's like, yes, we did it. You know, I remember the last time I was like screaming and delighted when I beat a game or something.
Yep.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
The anger issue has been a thing at my house with Sammy, and it's a little bit harder because of being, you know, whether you call it on the spectrum or you know, with the executive functions type stuff, you know, in the brain, where their emotions are just on a roller coaster. You know, one minute they'll be, you know, super happy, or down here super sad or super angry, you know, so everything is an extreme emotion. So with him, it's like what you were saying with your son being mad at Madden. My son would get 10 times more angrier and would throw something, and that's what we're working on right now. Again, he's just like Matt's son, where it's like he's going to be 13, but he's, you know, in the body of a 13-year-old kid, but, you know, emotionally mature wise, he's, you know, 9. You know, so and trying to teach him that stuff has been really, really tough, especially because he's in an older body and can break things now, you know, because he's got a throwing arm on him, and so he throws something, he's gonna break that. Or if he kicks out on the couch of the arm of the couch, it's gonna, I keep telling him, he's getting older and bigger, and then he's gonna break the arm of the couch off. So what we've been doing is to try to rein it in is for example, Punch Out. I reconnected the Wii in his room to his TV that he got for Christmas, and he started playing that, and then I was downstairs and I heard this crashing noise, and I'm like, what was that? And I go upstairs and he's upset, mad, angry, and he knows he got in trouble, and because he already knew he shouldn't have done that, because I was like, what was that? And I found out he threw the Wii remote against the wall. Sucker survived. The sucker survived, but
Punch Out is a very difficult game. Maybe.
But anyways, he threw that, and I tried, and it's basically what I've learned is with that type of thing, and Matt, you probably will attest to this, is that we can't react the way our dads probably reacted to us, right? It's just basically yelling back at you and shouting at you. You can't do that with these type of kids anymore, so because
working on that one still.
Yeah, me too. Don't worry, I'm not perfect either, because that's how I was brought up, was being yelled at and and stuff like that. But with these kids, it's basically calming them down, because they're in a state where whatever you say, they're not going to hear.
Escalate everything.
And it's basically de-escalating it, and just basically trying to either get their focus off of it, or just let them get the steam off some way somehow, and then come back to it later. But that's something that might work more for you, Spider Shan, is what we did is we said, okay, trying to teach them some coping mechanisms. Basically, you feel like you're going to get mad. You need to recognize that it's okay to be angry, but how you react to it is not. And what you got to do is either take a break, put the game down, come back to it later, pause it if you want. If you feel like you can take a break and come back to it within minutes, sure, pause it. Or if you feel like you're getting angry, is it truly fun then at that point, and do you need to turn it off?
That's what I've said to him so many times. Like, if it's not fun anymore, turn it off and walk away. It would be just like, you're not enjoying this.
Right, exactly. That's
at
the
this
thing.
point. So,
Maybe you can tell. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and I don't know. My wife thinks it's partially just hormones and everything else.
It's that too. Yes,
just kind of go out of whack.
It is.
But I don't ever remember getting that mad.
No,
one of the biggest. I'm sorry. One of the biggest things I've done is lead by example, because we've all had that. You're doing something, you're like, oh, and just because you screw something up and you get a little upset, even though you're not that upset, you're expressing it, and especially a kid watching. I've literally done like that, but I wasn't really that mad, and just kind of like frustrated. And he's sitting there. I'm like, I guess I need to take a break from this because I'm getting a little upset. You want to play something or play something else? Walk away, even though I really didn't need to. Just kind of doing that more often. And I'll be honest, there may have been times I have overreacted on purpose because he's there, and say, you know what, this means I need to step away from whatever I'm playing. And then just by doing it and having him watch me do it, I've noticed more within the last 6 months. He'll sit there and he'll kind of, because sometimes when he'll play the Switch, he'll do it in handheld. We have an area for him down here in the basement where he's got like this Yogibo, which is basically a nice fancy beanbag and this little corner set up. He'll play laying on that. And he'll sit there and he'll come up and say, I got really upset about this, but I turned it off and started playing something else. Or he'll say, hey, Dad, he'll say something or like, hey, you want to do, I don't know, insert something else. But I think my biggest thing was leading by example, even if I did embellish stuff and may have been acting on it. That was probably one of the biggest things, is for him to watch me do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Guys, that might help. I learned from experience that you're never at your best when you're mad. So I don't know if you want to tell your son that to him or something like that. Like you're like, I'm trying to say, sorry, that's my train of thought. You get what I'm trying to say, like when you're mad, you're not at your best game, something like that. Like,
right.
I'm just.
That's a good point.
That's
a good point.
Yeah.
I was just using you for example. When you get upset, you don't think straight. So when you're upset,
exactly.
You're getting the worst of the game. So if you feel bad, just take a second.
That is a good point.
Try breathing in. It's like, all right.
Sean Capri in the chat said, what about doing other activities? I'm looking forward to getting my kids into things like martial arts and other avenues to deal with adversity.
Yes. My son
just need COVID to end.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, seriously, my my son, I'm talking a lot about him, but he was playing baseball and loved it, and then now he hasn't been able to play anything, and so he's spending a lot more time indoors, and it sucks.
Yeah. And my kid, Sammy, loves swimming, and unfortunately we haven't been able to do that because of COVID. So.
Also, there's plenty of games that throw out your anger, so like that, like the
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, or the Dicey Word games, like I don't know if your son plays the Hydra Calamity, but that's a good game to release some stress. Just murdering all those minions in that game.
Yes, murder definitely helps with that.
I'm too busy playing myself.
Yeah. Let's murder everything to get rid of our stress.
Exactly. Back in the game. We're good. Stuff.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. In terms of trying to teach stuff, it's what's been an issue is with the COVID stuff. Preston used to do Aikido, and that was fantastic for him. He being his thing. But luckily, since that's just kind of gone out of the way until all this stuff settles down. But
yeah,
luckily we have a place near us called the Brick Lab. It's a privately owned place for Legos.
Oh, nice.
He was literally there for Lego King. They're on February break this week, so this was the last day. So we signed him up for camp for the week, and they had a special thing tonight. So he was literally there from 9:00 this morning until that went until 3, and then we did stuff where we got we had to take care of some errands and stuff. He went back at 4:30 and was there until 8 tonight. So he was basically there for like 9 hours.
That's cool.
And it was like the greatest thing. But it's all Legos. He loves Legos, and this place is just come play Legos. They have adult time. They have kids time. It's amazing.
We got a place like that here in Michigan too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we don't have that here in the city. I just looked it up. No fair. Wish I could.
Stop! You got Nintendo Store. You shush.
Well,
Shush you.
If you want to come to the other side of the state over here in Rochester, let me know.
But
Apparently, I'm in the wrong spot. I must be the wrong spot of Michigan because I don't have anything like that by me.
Isn't the whole state of Michigan the wrong spot?
Oh.
Hey, just remember how many people from Michigan. We're ganging up. We're
Nick, did you hear that? Are you in the background? Did you hear that from Matt?
I'm just throwing shade because I'm from Ohio originally.
How many people from Michigan
there
are
it is.
on this podcast right now?
How much was sorry?
Is it 3 or 4? How many?
3 of us.
What's the question? Sorry.
How many people from Michigan are on this podcast right now?
I've never been to Michigan, to be honest.
It's 3 of us.
3?
No.
Okay.
All 3 of us are here.
All that matters.
If we're still on the subject of anger management with games like that, just curious. Do your kids get kind of upset in competitive games too? Like, will they either go can be sore losers and damn it, no, or would it be in your face or something like that?
Yeah, he does some of that. Yep. I mean, Splatoon 2. Yeah, that was a tough one. That should have been the example I gave. That's the game he probably gets most frustrated in because he's just determined that they put him on the worst team possible and everything else. And
it's gonna start all over again with Splatoon 3.
He's probably right, to be honest. I feel that way every time I play Splatoon.
Oh, so do I.
For just me personally, that is the only time I get mad. I don't get mad at single player games that are hard or unfair. It's just the multiplayer games when I feel like my teammates are not pulling their weight. That's when I get angry.
You have a bunch of wall painters on your team?
They're not
To be honest,
not too many.
everybody should be mad
Splatoon
at
has
him
some
because he's usually
matchmaking
staring at the ground shooting at one spot forever, trying to get one little bit that wasn't painted his color.
I guess that's one thing Nintendo should fix in Splatoon 3. Make it so if you have a bad team member, they can still come out on top or something for the new Splatoon game next year.
Yeah.
Well, and I noticed a lot from the last Splatfest. What they need to do is implement some kind of matchmaking for Turf War, because as it stands, it doesn't care. It just bases it on connection strength. Because the last Splatfest, I had a lot of games that were very one-sided because the other team had multiple people at level 90 star, and we had level 13s.
Yeah.
Because that's fair. That's
totally fair.
I mean, maybe they'll steal from Apex since Apex is coming.
Hey, no. Nintendo will always do what Nintendo does. Come
I was
on.
gonna say.
I'll tell you what, though. As much as everyone complains Nintendo doesn't do this, Nintendo doesn't do that, there's no consoles on the shelf. Games are selling. Some games are completely gone off shelves. And look at their stock. We bitch about it.
That's
and they're
because
laughing at
we're
the
the
bank about it.
diehard
And
Nintendo fans that want to see more out of them, right? So
And they question why Skyward Sword is $60. It's like, this is why people will spend X amount of money no matter what.
that's what makes me angry.
Waker HD
That's when I start
$60?
throwing my Switch and my controllers and no.
Was it Wind Waker HD was $60? Here's the thing. Not only that, Skyward Sword also has a set of Joy-Cons that all the scalpers are getting. So if you want
I
to
don't
look at
want to
it,
talk about
that,
it. I don't want to talk about those Joy-Cons.
It's
right now.
it's a $140 game if you throw those Joy-Cons into it.
They should have made those Joy-Cons. They should have
hate
made those
the
Joy-Cons
scalpers.
gold, like the Wii version of Skyward Sword came out. Like, this is two things.
They did that
They
because it was the 25th anniversary. It was specific to that.
I kind of want like a direct where Miyamoto just comes in and tries to play Skyward Sword for the Switch. And I know you guys remember that.
Oh yeah, yep.
It wasn't working quite right on stage.
Yeah, I put that on the chat room. Like, it's been a decade since this magical moment in
Yep.
E3. I think
I'm
that's
still waiting for them. I'm still
I think
waiting
that
for them to port Wii Music.
I think that was Nintendo.
I
Was
bet
that
you
Nintendo?
are.
Was that Nintendo's like last E3 when they were on stage? I think it was 2010,
Yeah.
right? That was
That was awful. The guy on the drums.
that was their last one on stage. Really? I thought they had one more. Whatever, it's fine.
No, because it was a whole thing for Wii Music. They had like a concert,
Yep.
a Wii Music concert on stage.
Guy playing. You had someone playing the sax. The guy on the drums. Yeah. Look it up
Good
on
time.
YouTube. It's good time.
You can say yeah, whatever. Nifty did. That's another topic for another day. To be honest.
If we ran Nintendo,
Oh, don't say that. Sean Capri's in our chat. He's going to charge you.
Let's see.
All right, but going back to the what you do to manage that with your kids and the anger stuff, and going to what you were asking there, Elvis, was about the
Competitiveness, yeah.
the competitive games. What I've done in those situations, whether it be the single player or competitive, if he's gotten angry, it's basically you're grounded from that game. Depending on how you handled it, you need time away from it. You're not handling it maturely. We talk about it, and then it gets basically brought back on after you show me how you're able to manage your anger. You got to show me that by doing other things. Like when your mom asks you to brush your teeth, don't throw a hissy fit.
I should write this stuff down whenever I get kids. To be honest, it's like, how can I take care of it? Or let my sister know this stuff.
so Tim, when a game has
Didn't
been,
you guys have
sorry, when you've been, say a game's been kicked off a game, I actually had to do the point where either the cartridge had to leave the house and the game had to be uninstalled. Have you encountered where you had to do that too, to the point where you had to say, it's not on the Switch, there's no way to play it?
Yeah, so with
Your
the
console.
with the Switch, depending on the game, I was able to block it. So it was like I whitelisted
Yep.
the game. So if he lost his access to it, I would unwhitelist it.
Yeah.
And then Roblox being another one of those games, which I still don't understand that game. Roblox, he would get pissed at that game, and I just basically blocked that game on his phone. And then if it was a cartridge, the cartridge would be taken away. But for the most part, he's been pretty honest. So if I didn't have access to do any of those things, I'm trying to think of a game where he had to do that. Punch Out on the Wii U. He can easily go up there and turn it on and just play it. I can't. There's no way for me to block it. But I told him he's grounded from it, and so I trust him that he doesn't go up and play it right now. So I haven't seen any reason why I shouldn't trust him. Because he constantly asks me, "Can I play Punch Out yet? Can I play Punch Out yet?" It's like, dude, you haven't shown me yet that you can handle your anger. So
Punch Out's a very difficult game. This is the Wii version of the NES one.
the Wii U, the Wii games. Was it Super Punch Out or no? Not Super Punch Out, just Punch Out.
It was just Punch Out.
And then I bought it on the Wii U. When you were able to buy it for like $1 or whatever it was that you could do. You could buy the Wii digitally, the Wii version of it digitally. So And Matt, by the way, you're safe. Sean Capri says the copyright's expired, so you're fine.
Good thing to know.
And while we're at it, I'll call back to something he also said is when you were talking about your kids buying their own console. He said, tell your kids to start gambling or donating to gaming charity streams. They'll get a Switch or Xbox soon enough.
No, well, he's the one that won the Switch. I'm the one that wins the Xboxes. So
okay, there you go. So in case anybody knows, Matt's won like 2 systems in charity events.
Within the last, between January and now.
Yes.
Or in December.
Crazy.
Oh God,
That's awesome.
lucky.
And so we got Sean Capri in the chat, and there's one other person viewing that's been silent. So I have no idea who that is. Maybe it's one of you guys, but they haven't said anything yet. So, but hi, whoever you mysterious person is.
They're fascinated by my beard.
Yes, they are. Especially right now, you're frozen on my screen, so you got this like look of disappointment. Oh no, you're not frozen anymore.
I had a question for all the dads about competitive games. I think I mentioned this in a couple of the dinner table. My son can be insufferable sometimes because he has this like I'm a real gamer. I'm better than everybody, and he like will play Mario Kart and he'll whip everybody, and he'll get to the point where I have a hard time sitting there playing with him because it's obnoxious. Then like his sisters will they don't tolerate it at all. They'll put up with it for a few minutes and then they're out of the room. They're like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not fun, like you had said before. And he gets upset that nobody wants to play with him. And I try to explain, no, like I'm having a hard time sitting here because of I know my brother and I do this when we played games. We'd trash talk and it was always an equal. Like I'm not better than you. We're just I don't know how to teach that.
Is he having? I'm sorry, Amy. Is he having an issue of there's a difference between just talking crap and having fun with it and just being a complete jackass, to put it bluntly. Because we have that issue at times too. So I
trash talking is an art, and he's not good at it.
There's a difference between trash talking and being a complete butthole. So
yeah.
And 10, and so he doesn't know the difference. I think that's one thing. It's the one thing. Like I'm setting up the game tomorrow, Tim. I'm hoping that somebody who's really great at Mario Kart will just take him down a peg. And
that's the real meaning behind this Mario Kart game, which we're going to play tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Teach his son a lesson.
See, it sounds to me like the ideal solution is for you to just become a master of Mario Kart.
Yeah, you need to train,
and then put him
man.
in his place.
Just let him play all the Japanese people. Start playing it late at night when all the characters come
Oh,
in.
forget about that.
Johnny would take me years to train. He is, I don't know. I think he's just beyond my ability, to be honest. He keeps telling me I need to drift more, and I keep just telling him I just want to tell him to shut up sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Always drift. Always
drift my hand in your face. No, I'm kidding.
You have to drift.
Drift. Like it's a joke now. Like
Yeah.
you should drift more. Oh yeah, that's why you win every time. Sure. I always thought
Played Mario Kart since before you were born.
Right.
I thought he'd be older before he was beating me at games. I guess there's a humility thing there. Like I realized at 10 he'd already be whipping my butt at Smash Bros. Like, Smash Bros. Is a lost cause. I just can't.
You know what you need to do? You should do like that guy on if you ever saw that video from a couple years ago when the guy was getting whipped by his son at Call of Duty, so then he put on the golden eye.
Oh yeah.
It was on. He's like,
That's an awesome
oh
one.
yeah, now it's gonna go down. Yeah, you should start.
Pull up
Find something
Mario
old school.
64 or Mario Kart
You
64.
know what it was? You know what, Matt? Ice hockey.
There you
It was
go.
on the NES
Yeah.
Online. I beat him 17-4, and he says, like, I think you were piling on. And I was kind of like channeling all the Mario Kart losses. And I'm like, there was a little bit of piling on. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Or just play Tecmo Bowl and use the Raiders and don't tell them about Bo Jackson.
Right?
Exactly.
For now, because I want him to play some more sports games, so I've got NBA 2K21. And he's like, well, I don't really want to play because I know you're going to win. I said, well, no, let's see how it goes. And then halftime, it's 35-10, and he's like, yeah, you were right. Yeah. Like, okay, but this is fun for me because you beat me at everything else.
Right.
Tell me can't play Mario Kart or anything anymore until he beats all 3 of the first original Super Mario Brothers.
And you know what? He'll have done that. He probably could have done that by the weekend.
Have him beat Dark Souls.
It sounds like the problem is he at least has some of the skills to back this up. He's just being a jerk about it.
Have him make unlock all the. Isn't the gold parts expensive?
He does have the skill. That's the thing. Is that and I don't mean to be disappointed in this because I wish he could try this hard at anything else in life. Honestly, sports, school, anything. Only thing I can really get him to do and to put full effort into, like, to train and practice, video games.
Well,
I don't know if that's bad or not, and I don't know what to say about it sometimes.
Get him in an esports league. There you go.
Might actually you might as well make some money off of it, I guess.
Get him to try Overwatch.
I mean, some of the local colleges here, you can get a scholarship for esports now.
Right.
It sounds to me like he's already sort of running into some consequences, though. You said, like, his sisters won't play with him anymore. I mean, it's like he'll figure it out eventually. It's
put him in a tournament where he'll get kicked out for acting like that.
Right.
And I think he's a little bit aware of his limitations. Where he's like, if I play online with people, because online is apparently the ultimate, where there's he recognizes. So there are people out there better than him. Apparently, we just don't know any of them by name. Like my brother, no, you'll take him on, and he'll be strong about it. Like the guys were joking on the podcast yesterday about Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, but some serious intense battles between him and my brother. And so they'll get into it. So they pick an event, and whoever wins picks the next event. So if my brother knows he's got an edge, he'll just keep picking that one again and again. You can tell it's like him picking a scab off because he's like, I'm going to beat you so I can switch to the event where I'm going to win and then turn the tables on you. And then it'll be advantage me again, but he won't quit.
Yeah.
Anything else, he'll quit, but he won't quit at this.
I made a joke.
Glad, but I'm kind of worried.
Sorry, I cut you off. Were you saying something, Chris?
I don't know what to make. I don't know what to make of it. Like I just I don't know what to make of it.
Have him try Mario Party for a while. No matter how good you are at that game, you'll lose. Sometimes I feel like Sometimes I feel like the game's like, oh, you're better. Well, we'll just see about that.
Here, you get a free star just for participating. Here's 3 stars for you.
I made a small joke about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, well, actually, that was sorry. Yeah, I unmuted my mic. I was gonna say I would be pretty. I understand the frustration, but I would be pretty happy about his passion. His willingness to train when he's passionate about something, because I know you're like, well, I don't know what to think about this. He very well may find something in life that he's that passionate about that's not video games, and at least you know that he'll have a drive for it when he has it. I would hold on to that. As per the trash talking thing, I totally get you. My son's gonna be a trash talker, and we'll just take the game away from him every time he does it. I know Tim. You were big into Boomerang Fu with your son. My son's 7, and in the beginning of Boomerang Fu, man, I was like just couch sitting, kicking his butt. By the time we had played the game for 3 months, man, I was hanging on by a fingernail to like take him out. And I'm like, dang, he is only 7. Like, yeah. Like I thought I'd have him on a corner, and he just knew how to parry and turn around and slice me in 2. And I was like, oh, this is not going well. So I can feel you, man.
Isn't there, like, what's the age where they're supposed to be better at you? Like, sports, I can tell, because like, he's a big kid for his age. He's 10, but he's 5'2". He's too large for a 10-year-old. But he's not putting that into sports. So I'm like, I'm not worried about it beating me in basketball, on the hoop out of the house. But like I said, Smash Brothers, forget it. I could train for my life and never be where he is at. To take the point further, the passion is there for games that he wants to make them. So he's learning code. He's doing coding in school. He's got math down. He's really great at math. So maybe down the road he's a programmer, and that's where it takes him. I hope. Like, God bless. That's great because that means he's.
That's really cool at 10 years old. Yeah, that's really cool to know that at 10 that he's that passionate about that.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
so I think
really-
you're already I think you're already seeing it. So like he's taken that further now into something that is school related, like coding. So you're already seeing that passion grow from just training into a video game to like now he's that's studying, man. So yeah, I think you're seeing it. That's cool.
You may want, if you want to expose him more into that coding stuff. I don't know where you live. Around here, we have a group called the Rock Game Development Group, because there are a couple game publishers, and there's a RIT here has one of the top 10, like it might even be top 5 video game programming colleges in the country, world, or whatever. But if you can find locally some kind of group, they do these open houses every week where it's open to the public, where you can come in and see what people are working on. Well, you can't do it now. They do it all online through Discord and Zoom, but something like that, you can maybe find someone to talk to that he can talk to say, hey, I'm really interested in this. What did you do? And maybe they can mentor him too. Something to look into.
So I'm the lone Canuck, I think, on the panel tonight. So,
well, you do have Sean Capri in our chat too, and he's
in the chat.
He's been chatting away, and he's got some
Well, he's
pointers.
got all his connections at Xbox Canada. Just talk to Sean.
He's actually got something in here too. Actually, he's been typing up saying, my parents used to say the same thing to us kids. I think kids who need to demonstrate their superiority need a few things. Opportunities to show they are superior, but in a guided way. Put them in a mentorship role. He can teach people around him how to get better, but also maybe he doesn't feel like he's good at other things in the same way he's good at games. So how do we encourage our kids to feel strong at other activities the way they feel strong with the games?
and Tim, this is going to sound like one of those back in my day old dad things, but it's sort of the practice and the perseverance that sometimes that he doesn't. And I don't know if this is generally for all kids or next generation of kids. If it's video games, you'll practice. If it's math or baseball, it's not there. And like, I don't know how to. You do have to. There's hard work, I guess, is the bottom line, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it just takes work and practice and trying and determination, and that's the hardest thing I find to really rouse up in him is how to keep working at it until you get there. Because he honestly, if there's a game, even with some video games, if he's not good at it right away, it's not always his thing. You're like, well, okay, I'll move on to the next thing.
So you're trying to balance of the fact of what he's good at, but get him to try to where he's going to push through the things that he's not good at, because it's always going to be a deficiency if he doesn't work through it.
Of his comfort zone, right? You don't want to be. Right?
Yep. Yeah, we've had to experience that with my daughter. She's kind of excelled in a lot of the classes, and then she's experienced a class where she had to work a little bit harder at it to. It didn't come so easy. It was actually computer software. It was learning Python. It did not come easy for her. She needed a lot of help from. It wasn't me, unfortunately, because I was doing my own class stuff, but my wife has stepped in and helped her a lot. So
they teach Python in your daughter's school. Is she in middle school?
She's in high school. Yeah, they were teaching.
Awesome.
They teach Python.
They teach Python. That's so fair. My school never did that.
Well, yeah, they definitely didn't do that in my school. I think we learned some MS DOS. I think is what.
We didn't even learn that. We learned our computer class.
Basic, yeah.
C++.
Kind of want
keyboarding until high school, and then basic.
Command lines.
It wasn't even that. It was still keyboarding and PowerPoint.
I mean, this is kind of related to this. Kind of circling back to like using games to teach kids and stuff like that. Did you guys ever had those living books? I think they're called when you were kids or something. Does that ring any bells?
The which ones?
I guess they didn't. They're like these little CDs that you put in your computer, and they basically become like little, like reading books and stuff like that. Does that ring any bells? I think
they do.
Living books. That shit something for Arthur. They
did for my oldest. Yes, he had a lot of those. I remember seeing those in his class and stuff. But now it's all online, so it's the same stuff but all online.
My books were on a little round discs, but they weren't CDs; they were records, and you had to turn the page every time you heard the chime.
Yes, I remember those.
I had a Gremlins one.
Yes.
If you watch that as an adult, that should have not had a kid's books for Gremlins.
I had a Raggedy Ann and Andy one. That's the one I had.
I had Return of the Jedi one. I had too.
Well, I had the entire
Lucky.
Gremlins set from the Hardee's Kids Meals, so.
Apparently, you can download them on this thing. Yeah. No, I got curious to see because if they're on Steam, they're not on Steam, but they're on a website called Bandware. Sorry, just since we're talking about like how we could get kids to learn games with management, so I thought that's one thing I did when I was a kid. I played those and stuff.
Yeah.
I was sort of I feel like I cheated the subject. Sorry about that.
Well, and if you think about school too, if you used games at school, one popular game at the time was Oregon Trail, right? So
yeah, you never finished that as a kid.
I never played that as a kid.
I played a lot of Lemonade Stand.
Yeah.
I did play.
Lemonade Stand. Yes.
I did play
Carmen San Diego.
I did play a game called. I think it's called Zafumambu or something. That's a show.
Bless you.
It's a Canadian show.
No, it's a game where like you have these creatures that you could customize, but the thing is, you have to have like a set amount of creatures to progress of the game. It's kind of like organization skills like that. I don't know if you guys were getting bells. No.
No.
If you want a good team working game, just have them play Left 4 Dead.
Yes.
I'm about to look this up because I know I'm talking about. It was an old PC game. I'm gonna spend the whole call trying to figure this game out. Sorry.
I'm too old to know what game you're talking about. I'm sorry.
I breezed my way through government class thanks to Civilization. I'm just gonna be real honest. Like,
I got it. It's Zoom. I got it. It's Zoom Beanies. That's what it's called.
Zoom Beanies. All right.
Zoom Beanies.
Which is on Steam apparently. Huh?
I will admit
know what you're buying
to
tonight.
knowing most of what I know about a lot of
It's $10. Nope. Too much.
specific geography. Was the way different noble titles work due to Crusader Kings.
Crusader Kings? Okay.
Yeah, it's just it every now and then it comes up, and I'm like, no, a duke outranks a baron, and they're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, I play Crusader Kings.
What about Gangster Wars? Did you learn anything from that? Anybody played Gangster Wars? That was kind of like the Lemonade Stand, but with drugs.
Yeah,
I learned angles
Drug
from
Wars, yeah.
Drug Wars, yeah.
On your calculator,
angles.
right?
Yes.
Wasn't there like a math? Off the top, wasn't there like a math game called Math Blasters that's pretty popular even with adults and kids?
Yeah, I played Math Blaster.
That one I kind of want to play myself, even though I already know everything about math, but it looks kind of interesting. Wish I had as a kid.
I learned angles from didn't really learn them, but used them for worms, and before that it was Scorched Earth, I think it was called.
I guess that's one good thing.
Right. Type game.
I guess that's one good thing about games.
that.
Like even though like it was not made to teach you like arithmetic or something like that, you still learn some things. To be honest, like going back to Yu-Gi-Oh, that game teaches you how to like add and subtract large numbers, which is pretty good. Or maybe you could just give your kid like a math, then call it a day.
Well, that's what I mean by using regular games to
That's what I do for
teach
my
kids certain
That's what
things.
I do with my future kids because I refuse to teach them this new math with like the boxes stuff like that. I'm like, no, you're gonna teach them how I was taught when I was a kid, and I'm gonna show you this way to teach it, which is what Donkey Kong math does. I don't know if you guys see how they teach math to their kids. It's dumb.
Yeah, I had to relearn math to help my kids with math. So yeah, I know what
feel
you're talking about.
I'm like, what was wrong with the old way? It makes complete sense. Like, oh, if they screw up one part, they screw the whole problem. But yeah, that's how math is. If you messed up with one part, you have to do the whole problem again.
Does anybody know the game Number Munchers? Sean Capri threw that one out. He said, anybody know that one? Number Munchers?
I feel like I have a
sounds
recollection
familiar.
of that. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I wonder if it was probably something my siblings probably when computers were starting to be a little more
It looks
available
ancient.
at schools and stuff.
It looks super ancient. This was for the Atari 2600 or something?
We are ancient. We know it. And
I will
proud of it.
say, when it comes to math and games, it's become a pet peeve of mine that a lot of games actually skew random chance to match people's incorrect intuition. Like, for example, Fire Emblem, all the games since like the 4th one have done this, where your hit chance that's displayed is not your actual chance to hit. They average 2 random numbers together, which skews it more towards it's actually higher if it's above 50. Your actual chance of success is higher than the value it gives you, and that just bugs me.
I didn't know that, so it never bothered me until now, so thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Welcome to the club.
Well,
you had to get more people in.
Another
this
one
club.
actually came up recently. It's in the next patch. It's a something you can toggle on for Baldur's Gate 3, which is still in early access. They're adding all kinds of stuff, but they have a weighted dice option, which will make it so that like if you keep rolling ones, you will become less likely to roll ones in the future until it averages back out.
Interesting.
I know XCOM and XCOM 2 do something like that, where if you miss, you get a hidden modifier that makes you more likely to hit your next shot.
That's all back end stuff I never even thought of.
Yeah, it's all stuff that I only know from like diving deep into the wikis. From XCOM, I found it because it's something that changes based on your difficulty setting. The highest difficulty takes it away.
Yeah. So that's actually another interesting point you make there, though, Sam, is it's another avenue way of kids learning something beyond just the game. Like if they're really into the game, like do they start diving into online information, if they're allowed to go online, and look at wikis, more back-end information, developer talk, especially like Chris, your son's into the development of games or something, or wants to be a developer, do they go and look at, developer logs and them talking about the development of those games and stuff like that. So it's another avenue, I suppose, of using games to teach kids something,
Make them calculate the actual odds of finding a shiny Pokemon. They will either learn lots of math or quit playing Pokemon.
So if you don't like Pokemon, that's one way you possibly get them to stop.
We're just telling the
you see,
stats
Sam,
of
like,
getting the best one.
I thought my son would quit math, but he would probably do the calculation.
Yeah.
Later.
And test the theory of the calculations of the percentage chances of getting the best weapon drop at that last section from the Starman in Earthbound.
Guys, it's kind of topic.
Well, those are all 1 out of 128. Right?
No, the Earthbound one's about you got like a 0.04% chance or something like that.
I think that there's a set of items. They're all 1 in 128 chance.
Guys, kind of off topic. My screen, is it like flickering green on your side or something, or is it just me?
Occasionally,
Every
yeah.
now and then.
I don't know why it's doing that. It's weird. Maybe I gotta like take it out and in and stuff like that. I don't want to do that now. Sorry.
It's Nick. Nick is hacking into your system. Well, that's why he's not
is it
showing
your
his face.
refrigerator compressor?
My version. It's my what? Sorry. Yeah, I think he's hacking now. I better go stop him.
John's watching a feature from Canada.
It's a sign. It's a sign for help or something. I don't know.
It's the Matrix. It's a glitch in the Matrix. Oh, there it goes again. It's a glitch.
Doing that.
Yeah.
I gotta reset it. Give me a second.
Turn it off, turn it back on again. That's all you gotta do.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe.
First rule of IT help. Reboot.
Is it plugged in?
Reboot. Yeah.
Maybe like the connection I connected is kind of weak. I'll figure it out the dinner table. It's fine.
It could be anything. It could be Discord too. So, because it is a free service. So.
Discord. No, what are you talking about? Discord always works perfectly.
So this
But,
this was definitely an interesting
it's like
topic
there's
and
games
stuff.
you could teach
So
kids with.
it's a very interesting topic, and I think there's probably a lot more that we could talk about in this subject, and it can as always can continue on in our Discord channels, and we can always come back to it at another dinner table and stuff like that. And
I might help the conversation, even though I don't have any kids of my own. Sorry.
well, like I said, it doesn't
That's right.
matter if you have
derailed
kids
the
or not.
conversation a lot.
I was This is not really about kids itself, but I did want to mention I did used to use gaming in my other job because I work with the people with developmental disabilities. So I thought maybe it'd be kind of a nice idea for them to play that bowling game and clubhouse games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bowling.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought that
bowling like the nursing homes.
Well, it's not completely Wii bowling. I thought it'd be kind of nice for them to play it because I think they had a Wii back in the days. So I thought maybe it'd be kind of nice, have some gaming something like that. I mean, they still couldn't do it, and I got a little upset because I'm like, it's just press this and then that, but.
So it's another topic. It's another topic. How do games teach you things? And you learned patience.
I feel like
watch your 5-year-old play at Stardew Valley and not clear the land.
For you guys that have to deal with individuals like developmental disability, like that's a skill because, again, I work with people with disabilities, and it's like we have to. Long story short, we have to think of a game for them to play. And my coworker's like, okay, think of a game for them to play, but keep in mind they can't read, they don't have the basic motor skills. So essentially, you have to find a game that's like basically press A to win. And I'm like, how am I gonna whatever? Like,
that's the way Wii was perfect for that, right? So that's probably why it was so popular in a lot of places to get that machine. So,
yeah. Well, Mecha Dragon, I was thinking about that. Like my youngest daughter has a mild form of epilepsy. She seems to be growing out of it, but a lot of her struggles in kindergarten and now in grade 1, she's struggling with still getting numbers and her letters. I think she saw me. I don't remember why. I was playing it because it was the podcast I was listening to was going through the NES games, and they were playing Mickey's Adventures in Numberland. And she saw this and thought, "Oh, numbers!" and it's Mickey Mouse, and it was like, I mean, it's a 30-year-old game. I mean, not that old, but
it's old.
Sat down, and started identifying her numbers and identifying her letters, and I was like, man, her teacher has been trying to get to her for like 6 months. Here, sit down, focus on, and trying to learn all of her letters. All I needed was an NES and a Mickey Mouse.
Yes, and that right there is a great example of games teaching kids something that wasn't probably meant to be. That Mickey Mouse numbers one probably was a little bit for education purposes, but
I was imagining the parent-teacher conference. Like, how'd you get to learn numbers? Like, I just wanted to play a NES game. It's like, oh, okay.
Mickey Mouse and NES. That's right. But we have been podcasting this live, actually on Twitch and YouTube for a couple hours now, so we can keep going like we always do by ending the recording session with a toast, and then we can go on to the cocktail hour afterwards.
I wish I had a cocktail. I don't.
You get a refill then.
Don't have to have a cocktail, but have your glass, have your drink out, and I'll raise a toast to everybody. And I always have to write it down because no matter how many times I've done this, I have to make sure I read it right. So
you should have recorded this too.
So right.
I think you did the Pokemon one last time.
But everyone, good night, and I'll say, may your gaming time be plentiful and fun, your backlog short, and you and your families are blessed. Good night, peeps, and good night to everybody watching, and thanks for stopping by.
Yay.
Cheers.
Cheers.